Hey everybody, welcome back to Steve's Garage. Good to see everybody again. Thank you for coming back, and once again, thank you everybody for all the great comments and great suggestions you're leaving for me and all that stuff. Having a good time with the community and all you guys watching and guys and gals, I should say. And again, thank you. I'm grateful. Appreciate all your help. So here we are once again on the 35 Ford Model 48. Anybody tuning in for the first time, go back and check out about 8 videos ago that shows that this car was once a Model 48 humpback and had the luggage rack here, and that roof line was back here. We moved it forward 21 inches, and now we are in the process of trying to get all the metal filled in the back here and catching up on all this metal work. So when we left last time, I had worked on this fender over here on the driver's side, and now I'm working on the fender on the passenger side. And because you saw, I banging out that passenger side on the last video, I kind of moved forward with this one, and this one pretty quick because we had, I had already worked on that side, and you kind of, you've figured out your pattern, you figured out what direction you need to go in, and so what you see in here is probably less than a half hour's worth of work or so, and now I'm ready to go to the shrinker, or actually the stretcher, and stretch this section in here so I can get this curve going in that direction. So let me grab a pen and we'll mark that out and we'll move over there. So I hope you're all having a great day. It's another chilly day in Western Mass here, and hey, it's winter. We're doing what we do. Just kind of wait it out. January and February are long months in New England, and everybody gets a little crazy, a little cabin fever, and it just comes with the territory. So my swoop is in here, so I want to be around here to here. Want to stretch that. So let's get the camera moved over. Hope you guys are working on your projects. Get some time. The only day you can't create is yesterday and tomorrow. Today we work, right? Work on our projects. So you all watched my Henry Ford video with the marijuana. Again, that was pretty funny. But I look at it as, hey, he was probably trying to find a way to get out of from under the steel companies. Because just more efficient, less money spent, and go from there. At the camera angle, you can probably see that fender moving. Now you can look down that, see, and see what's happening there. So let's try it over here. The old wrestling game. Okay. So, let's shrink that down. There you go. So, here we go. Once again. So, I know I had to cut some off on the other fender over here. We trimmed. So, I'm going to take my pen. No, I'm going to measure that. Use my tape measure. So I'm doing is measuring the other side of the fender, this piece here, and seeing what my end is. I got about 11 3/4. So if we look at this here, I measure up 11 3/4, about there, because that's what I took off the other side. So one side is obviously going to be just like the other side. So I'm going to take that. Because we've got to remove that material. Let's get that gun set up, the cutter. All right, I've got my pneumatic shears. Watch out for that piece. So these things work pretty darn good. They are pneumatic, they run on air, and give them a little oil every now and then, and you'll be in good shape. The easy button. I see guys cut with hand shears all the time. I'm like, what the hell are they doing? All right. That is where we're looking good there. So now we've got to roll this top over and do some planishing and wheeling. Got to wheel and deal. A couple of wheelies. So what this will do is the wheel, the bottom wheel has a radius on it, and it pushes up, actually thins the steel out just minutely, and you wind up getting a curve in the fender. And I don't want too much down the bottom. I really want this up in the top here. That gave us quite a bit of hoop and curve. Taking a guess that you can see there. I'll lock that in place again. So, middle of winter, I don't know what you guys are doing, but today is Thursday. Tomorrow is Friday fun day. I cook on Fridays. I probably never mentioned that, but my 1 day a week I gotta cook. And it's always interesting to say the least. So, slip down a little bit. So this is the point where guys were saying the other day that I should have pre-coats and all that. You can't do that at this stage of the game. Right now we're just doing all our wrestling, trying to get this thing figured out. And now we're coming into looking pretty good. So one thing I'm going to do is I have a lot of extra metal here. I'm going to get rid of this tire. Get rid of that tire. Now, so what I did on this fender over here is when I get to this point, because I have some shrinking to do now in here on the shrinker stretcher, that I said to myself, you have to get rid of all this excess steel because you're working all this steel for nothing. So let's get another clamp. So I hope you get what I'm saying. So instead of working all this steel and trying to get this, down where I want it like that side, by cutting off all this here, now I'm only going to work this section, and all this you're working for nothing because you're going to cut it and get rid of it anyway. I hope that makes sense to everybody. I believe it does because you're all brilliant. You're so smart, you're watching me. Another episode of What the Hell's Going On. All right, let's get our air over here. So the whole learning curve of this stuff is basically trial and error. As we've said in the past, this is my third car that I'm building. And, the first car was a nightmare. I built everything in 16 gauge steel. So it was murder. I was just wrestling this wrestling all that metal, trying to get it, and it shows when you look at that car closely. It's horrible, but it came out pretty cool. It's a rat rod, so it's not, you know, it is what it is. They're kind of meant to be a little ugly, and that's that. So what I'm going to do, this line that I put on here was right up to the angle iron, and I'm going to leave like a 1/4 inch on there because I don't want to hurt myself as far as not having enough steel, you know, afterwards. So I'll leave a 1/2 inch on there. It's the only downside to these things is you got the huge hose on the back end and it catches on it. Of course, I'm a lefty too. Maybe they're only supposed to be used right-handed. Now we're going to shrink in here. Shrink in here. Bring this bubble down. You can see that in the camera. So I've got stretchers on here, and I've got to change those to shrink. And you don't need to see that, so I'm going to put you on pause. All right, we're back after a little station identification break. And we are shrinking. Unfortunately, you are in my way. There you go. I already see how that brought that hump down. I'm just going to test that. See how that flattened that right out? I'm going to test that. Nice. The easy button. I know, get the Clecos out. Crikey. You son of a bitch. I know, no swearing on YouTube. I swear I won't. I swear it. Whew. It's a horrible game show. So, this is what it's all about, guys. You just got to keep on keeping at it. And like we said, I can put all the screws I want in here, but I just got to take it right back off anyway. So now we're working in the right direction. Looking pretty good. I'm going to take this up. That's better. That's better. Let me get a BFR, or BFH, I should say. I don't need any rocks today. My head in your way? Whew! Good thing I wrestled in high school. In the back seat of a Plymouth Sport Satellite. All right. So now we're getting in the right direction. All right. A little more shrinking here. I've got to do planishing on here because, just because. But as you can see now, my lines are coming together, both sides. So now I've got, this is kind of flat in here. So I got to do some planishing there. And as I said before, I didn't screw this side down or, start tacking and welding because we got to make sure they both match before we start, attaching. Make sure they're matching before attaching. That's your quotable quote from SWA today. Make sure they're matching before they're attaching. I like that. That should be a freaking bumper sticker. Along with say no to rope. smoke rope. Now here's another design made by this company. The foot pedal is about a foot long. See that down there? This foot pedal is tiny. So if anybody from that company is watching, put another foot on there. I guess I'm gonna have to probably do it myself, right? All right, hang on to your hat. We're putting the earmuffs on. Now that did exactly what it did on the other side, is it curves this piece up heavier, but it gives me that edge that I need. I'm gonna grab some gloves. So I've got an edge here that I gotta pound out. Temporary clecos right there. I wish. Don't come apart. All right, hang in there for a second. I'm going to grab a drill. So Henry Ford and the Mary Jane idea, I think that was pretty funny. It's funny how you never hear that all these years later. That just really struck me crazy. I'm like, wow. And I guess it would have happened except for the war started, and they had to switch gears and make all kinds of stuff for the war. The war effort, all those factories got turned over into manufacturing stuff for World War II. An angle there. We want to take that angle. Nope. Oh, what the fuck is that? Let's try this one. All right, that at least gets it in place temporarily. So the wrestling match continues. And that's it. That's all you can do. Just keep on working it in there. So, as we can see, I've got to so from back here, trying to get you dead center so we get a pretty good look at it. I'm good and round here. Still need a little bit of shrinking in here. compared to this side. Still feel a little flat right in there. Just run things over with your hand. Nothing tells you easier than your hand. You can feel, like right there, I've got to come up. So I've got to run that through the planisher a little more to get it up higher. And over here, there's a nice curve. This whole thing is curved really nice. You know, I know from the camera, it's hard to tell, but if you can see, this is a really nice swoop here. So this transition down to the side really looks good, you know? So, and this is what we're shooting for. So when this piece is all, you know, welded together, that we've achieved that coupe look where, you know, people go into the car show and looking at this are going to say, oh, wow, hey, you know, what year is this coupe? And unless they really know what the hell's going on, they're not going to know. Except for the purists, and I know you guys are out there. So, looking at the hips on this side, you can see that flat right there where I put that line. And on this side, we're more curved. It's subtle. It's not by much. But, you know, it's enough. So another thing that I did was when I had the spare tire on, I took a number and we'll put the spare tire back on, show you. So once I get these fenders, or the back of this lid, you know, the trunk area in place, I've got another, you know, probably 4 or 5 hours of work in both of these, maybe a little more, but whatever it takes. So then I'm going to head for a cross piece here, and then we can start building the trunk area. And then this will only be one piece of steel, which is going to be an easy piece of steel. It's going to be just it's flat plane, has a little bit of curve to it, but easy to install. And then the trunk, you know, will be up in the curve here. We'll make that from scratch. So when I hold my tape in here, I know that opening this lid, I don't want it to hit the trunk or the tire. So I took at 22 inches right to the trunk line there. You know, I'm good when that thing settles. So I know there's an arc on this, so it's probably going to be like 23 by the time I get there. But that 22 number from this bar, I can go over here, measure right to here on the steel, 22, 22, and then I'll test fit that and make sure, you know, we're not going to hit. But that's just, you know, all the things you have to forward think when you're building these cars of, you know, if I just said, hey, we'll put a bar in here, we'll make a trunk, and then I put the spare tire on, and then you got, you know, ding, 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 you're hitting it. Well, so you have to think ahead of the game. You have to think your next move. It's like when I built homes, I wasn't thinking about this week. I was thinking about 3 months from now. You know, I'm going to need the electrician. You know, we're only starting to put the hole in the ground, but I need to tell the electrician, hey, you know, if today's January, well, January, February, March, I'm going to need you in March. Because by the time I get this foundation built, the framing up, everything backfilled, and all our inspections, we'll be looking for you. And, or whatever, you know, maybe 2 months, whatever that number was. So my point is, try to sit back and foresee the future of what your project is, and try to be a forward thinker. And that's why you see my wheelchair in here that I have that I roll around the car, and it's just a great tool. I'll sit there for literally for hours and stare at this thing and come up with a plan, So and then a piece of paper and a pencil and just make lists. Hey, I gotta watch out for this. I should be doing this, and this is my next move here. So forward thinking all the time. So so that's it. I hope you're enjoying these videos. It's a lot of work. It's a little at a time. We just wrestle it. I was just measuring both sides, and we're like 12 3/8 to the outside. And if I keep on that same plane over to here, approximately, we're like a little over 12 and a half. So, but this piece is longer. I cut more off that side. So that's it, guys, for today. We're working it. It's a wrestling match, and I think we're winning, slow but sure. So, hey, again, thanks for all the great comments. Please, all the great like buttons. I get a lot of likes and subscriptions, and keep on coming back. It's going to get more interesting. We're taking this all the way through with you. We're going to build the body. We're going to get the body off the car. We're going to do all the frame underneath, all the mechanicals, the brakes and all the wiring, electrical, all the. We're going to move the battery to the back here. We've got the engine to go through, and everything's going to be painted from the ground up. So this is going to be a frame off restoration. So we're going to do all the paint ourselves, prime paint, sand, and it's a lot of work. And one guy was here the other day. He says, "You're going to have it done by spring?" And I'm like, "Which spring? Not this spring, I don't think." So anyway, guys, thanks for coming back. We'll see you on the next one. Have a great night. Bye-bye.